You know what's funny is that we really are our worst critics. We can be so hard on ourselves and not give any grace. Really, for me personally, I don't give a lot of grace to myself for a lot of things. I expect myself to be this super awesome Christian, super awesome person, and there's no room for failure. You know, so let's apply that to jiu-jitsu. You know, sometimes it's very easy to be very strict and hard on yourself and not allow any kind of failure in your growth, any kind of failure in the way that you handle technique or you handle the position, or while you're rolling with someone, lower belt or higher belt, you can just be so hard on yourself. And I'm gonna tell you, if you're gonna be like that when you do jiu-jitsu, you're not gonna enjoy jiu-jitsu. I got this story. I think I was a 2-stripe blue belt, and if the guy who this happened with is listening, it'd be kind of cool for him to comment in. I don't know if he's listened to or not, but his name is Josh, and he is a black belt at the school that I attend. Now, this story is at a time when he was just a brown belt and I was a blue belt. And we had a round, we were rolling that day, going at it, and I just felt like he beat the mess out of me, just completely destroys me. And I remember class was over and I walked over to the side and I was talking to my friend Mark. I was like, dude, man, I'm not doing good. I'm terrible at jiu-jitsu. I can't even roll that well. Just being super hard on myself about my roll with Josh. Like a brown belt's not supposed to beat me up. There you go. Some of my other videos I talk about that pride and stuff. I definitely have that pride and deal with that pride. But in that moment, Josh, I guess he heard me talking to Mark and he comes storming onto the mat. I mean, he just came around that corner. He was in the foyer. And there's like this door. He comes running in. He goes, hey, do you think that was easy? Because it wasn't. And I mean, he was yelling. He'll say he wasn't yelling. I feel like he was yelling. If he listens to this or Mark does, they can correct it. But I feel like he was yelling. And I didn't know what to say in that moment. But my takeaway from that moment was, hey, you're actually doing a lot better than you think. And then you still have a lot to grow in. The problem is us as humans, we like to see immediate progress. So I want to be immediately better. I want to be immediately able to move like all these top level people. That's what I want to do. I want to start jiu-jitsu. 5 months later, I just want to be wrecking people. I just want to be top of the line, AAA, just the best. And you're just not gonna be. It's gonna take time to be really well. Some of you young guys, man, dude, if I would have started jiu-jitsu at like 19, 20 years old, I wonder where I'd be right now. I was just so stuck in drugs and partying and destroying everything in my life. There's no way I could have done it anyways. So, but yeah, you younger guys, man, if that's something you want to pursue, dude, do it. Just make sure you take care of your body while you're doing it. Hate for you to get hurt, you know. But back to the point. Listen, it's gonna take time. It's not gonna be the next day you're gonna be a phenom. But I'll tell you this, if you put the time in, if you do it every day, if you take your time and pour into your jiu-jitsu, take care of your body, listen to your instructors, ask other people questions, you are going to get better. You know, I'll tell you one thing that I think that really does help is when you do your rounds, you know, when you are rolling, when the buzzer goes off and your head instructor's like, okay, let's go, fight for your life. You go, all right, I'm going to try to do technique, even if it puts me in a terrible position and I don't understand entirely. I'm going to try to do the technique that we learned. I got to turn the AC on, man. It is like hot in here. You know, I'm going to attempt the technique, okay? If you can tell yourself to start attempting the technique and actually go for it, I think that's going to propel your growth, okay? Like I just said, it's not going to happen instantly. But if you'll take the time and catch on to some of those things, like, okay, try to do what I learned in class today. That's what I want to do. Because if I do that, maybe that'll become muscle memory. And then when it shows up, boom, I'm going to do it. Also, in my opinion, I would rather drill a whole class time than do 30 minutes of technique and then just beat each other up. Now, when I do class, I do that. We do technique and then we beat each other up. Now, why? Because everyone likes to fight, right? We all like to fight. We love the fight. We love to beat each other up in jiu-jitsu. So obviously I don't want to take that away from anyone, because when I started and even all the way through, I've enjoyed that. But what I've enjoyed most is drilling. Man, I've enjoyed drilling. I love doing passing, putting my hands on the knees, stepping through, boom, going to knee cut, going to camp pass. Like I love doing that stuff and doing it over and over, because then when I get into that position, then I pummel just right. And I've drilled it and I'm like, dude, that was smooth. And then I'll tell you what that's been doing. What drilling a position has been doing for me is it's been making me think about, well, what else is there? So like even recently, I'll tell you something I've been thinking about. Okay, normal body lock passing, right? You can come in, you can sit on butterflies and then go straight to the ground. You can body lock and hug in both butterflies. Well, from there, I've done multiple things. I've done this thing called the gut crusher, where I put my forehead right into the gut and crush in and make their guts like bleh, and just like hurts, and they just kind of push you over. And then from going down, you can do the normal body lock pass where you kick a leg out, trap both feet, come around the side. Man, I was thinking, and this may already be out there, I'm sure it is somewhere, someone's doing it. There's nothing new under the sun, right? Been thinking about this. When you go in for that double under and you body lock, instead of like coming up or trying to trap a foot, putting my head on this opposite side and then coming up a little and pushing my hips over and sliding over their whole body. I don't know if it's going to work, and I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it makes sense to me. And I'm like, man, drilling in a position has caused me to think about other techniques within a position. All right, so hey, if you want to get better at jiu-jitsu, I think you should drill. I think you should drill. I think you should drill a lot. I think you should find someone to drill with outside of class, after class, before class. I think you should drill stuff that you're interested in. If you're interested in passing, drill passing. Go over and over on it. Look at it. The person that you're drilling with, be like, dude, what do you think about this? What would you do? This is what I would do. Well, this is what I think I would do. Okay, well, let's look at the answers. Let's look at the question. Okay, well, what would happen if you shut me down? So I'm going to do. Okay, cool. So what that is going to do, it's going to cause your brain to begin to function in this give and take motion. So you're like, okay, I start here. I pummel. Well, what if, as I'm pummeling, they catch my foot because they have their hooks activated? Well, that happened. The next day I was like, well, what if, hands on knees, and I'm sitting on the butterfly, so if I go to pummel in, they catch, and I push the knee through, bring my leg over. So it wasn't an over pummel, it was a step over with the control of the knee. That answer came from drilling. And then there was a problem with the drilling, is if they caught you. All right. So you want to get better? I think you should drill. I think you should find someone to drill with. I also think you should ask questions. And I think you should ask everyone questions. And if there's a brand new guy and he's been after like a certain amount of time and you're noticing him do something, dude, ask him like, dude, what are you doing? How are you doing this? Or you see something cool he's doing. Ask your professor questions. If you have money for privates, pay for privates with your professor or someone else in the gym that offers privates. Learn from someone else the little secret things that they do, because there are things that people do in your school that you're like, man, how does he do it? There's this guy in our school that he would just smush you. You're like, dude, how does he smush you? So whenever we get to those positions, I'm like, hey, how are you smushing? And of course, people are excited to share with you what they're doing. I'm excited when people ask me, they're like, how do you do that? How do you do this arm lock thing? I'm like, oh, this is how I do it. I just want to give away my secrets. It's really funny. I'm willing to give my secrets away to people that want to ask. And if you genuinely want to learn, people are willing to give you their secrets. So do you really want the secrets that they have? Do you really want to learn? Again, it's going to take time. You're going to have to implement what they show you. You're going to have to implement with what your head professor shows you. You're going to have to put time in drilling. You're going to have to show up. You have to put the time in. You're going to have to tap. You're going to get beat up. You know, and that opens up a whole nother topic. And man, I don't know, maybe I just talk about it right now, because I don't even know if I could create a whole video on it. But in my opinion, you want to get better, start on your back. Start on your back. Start on your back. Don't even if your school is a top game school, they do top, they smash top, they go to top, they crush the face, knee on belly, mount. Learn all that. But dude, start on your back. When you get in your rounds, your person be like, dude, I'm starting on my back. You start on top. I can tell you, I got my knees injured. I think my first 3 months in, I got hurt pretty bad. I had to play back. I couldn't play top because what I done to my knees, if you heard earlier videos, I actually ended up heel hooking myself trying to do a scissor sweep. The way that I moved my leg and my knee and twisted, trying to twist the person, I heel hooked my right leg. I was out for a while, injured real bad. This is the thing. I had to go to the bottom. So when I started rolling again, I was still injured. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna start on the bottom. Whatever we do, I'm gonna be on bottom, and that's what I'm gonna do. Man, I'm so glad, because for it's like 2.5 years, 3 years, maybe even close to 4. I mean, I just pounded out the bottom. Always on bottom, always playing guard, always playing half guard, always playing full guard, always playing dog fight, going for this sweep, going for that. And so I began to learn the feeling of the body from the bottom. Like I could understand how it felt, the weight distribution when a leg was kind of coming up, how this whole side of the body began to feel light and this felt heavy. It began to feel and make sense. On top, right, you can feel those, you can feel the person transitioning, trying to move on top. But when you're a guard player, and those of you that are watch this that are guard players, you know what I'm talking about when you feel that motion, when you feel that person's body weight change. When their body weight changes, and then you're able to just to shift just a little to get a sweep. So what was really cool was this little change took place. So I started on bottom. After a few years, I automatically transitioned to top. And the reason it happened was because I was getting successful at sweeping and coming up on top. So whenever I transitioned to top, I had no idea what I was doing. Now, yes, I'd learned during class, and I'd watch my professor and other people, and of course I got on top before that here and there, right? But then it became where I was like, well, now I'm gonna learn how to hold top. And so now I'm doing top, I'm doing that all over again, and I'm getting swept. I'm having to learn how to position my body, position my hips, have my good base, have my legs spread, had good grips, good cross face. I'm learning a whole different jiu-jitsu in this moment. And what is so awesome about that is now I feel like I'm very well rounded. Okay, I'm very well rounded in knowing, I mean, I can play guard, and if I come on top, I can play top. And I like being able to do both, and I don't feel that I'm lacking in understanding. Obviously, I'm still learning, but I feel like I have an understanding of both games. Now, since we're on this topic, kind of just shotgunning right now, there was a specific game that I was lacking in, and it was leg locking. It's just not something we really did where I train out that much. We just didn't do it a whole lot, right? Well, I was in my purple belt stage, and I had just gotten very comfortable in what I was doing. Very, what's the word, in a rut. Just very used to doing the same things over and over and over again. And this guy I was meeting with, a friend of mine named Mark, he was the guy that he had started with me, and what I mean by that is he was a white belt, I was a blue belt, and I was just giving him all my secrets, and I would just smash and beat him up for a while. Well, he began to research leg locking, and then he started toe holding. I mean, I'm like tapping the toe holds, and And then it was like knee bars and all this stuff. And I didn't like it. I didn't want to learn leg locking. I thought leg locking wasn't jiu-jitsu. When at first I was like, that's not a real, you didn't really submit me, man. I don't even like that. That's kind of a cheap submission. Well, I got to a place where I said, okay, I need to learn this. I need to learn it. And so I told my friend, I said, Mark, I was like, you gotta teach me. And so he started showing me how to enter in a single leg X, how to do shin on shin and do it. And then he was teaching me all these other things. Then I just ran with it. I started researching 50-50, saddle. I started really looking at heel hooks. I started looking at all these different things. I wanted it. I grabbed onto it and my game exploded. It just exploded because now I have a guard game that can transition to a leg locking game, that can sweep to a top game, and then can transition back into a leg locking guard sweep. So I'm having all these multiple transition points within my game, which I can say that if I didn't start on my back and get that foundation of guard, I don't know where I'd be at right now. Obviously, I probably would have maybe changed at some point or something would have happened, but there's really no telling. So back to the topic. If you want to get better, just know it's not going to happen the next day. You're not going to sign up for a 1 month, subscription at a gym and you're just going to walk out a magical black belt in a month. It's just not going to happen. You may walk out in a month and be good. If you came every single day and just wrecked it every day, hey, you may leave and have some really good tricks. That's what my friend Eli says. I can teach you a trick. In a month, you may have some good tricks. But I'll tell you this, after years of doing it, you'll have some really good muscle memory. And you'll have the experience of feeling what weight distribution feels like. Whenever you get hit in the eyeball a couple times and you learn where elbows are, you learn where the knee is, you learn where the feet are, you learn how to move your feet and your top body at the same time. All these things over time, your body starts to think actively while you're rolling, which I'm gonna tell you, that's a big deal. That's a whole other thing to talk about too. At white belt, you don't even really think about all that stuff. It's like a blur. Even in blue belt, it was a blur to me. Man, it's like the end of blue belt, I think the beginning of purple, I started actively thinking while rolling. I was able to consciously be aware of what was happening and mindful. And yeah. I want to keep going. It's making me want to talk about what should begin to happen in your game in regards to, you should be an offensively defensive player nonstop. You should roll in such a way with people where you are defending at the same time attacking, to where they feel like all they can do is defend. But you're actually defending with an attack. It's actually a real interesting concept because they are on the prowl to get you. In your defense, you've created attacks that actually cause them to disrupt their attack. And in their defense, you're capitalizing with your offensively awesome game. So, all right, man, I don't want to keep talking your head off. If you got this far, awesome. Please like and subscribe. Till next time.